Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. Today's episode, we got Ghost Rider from Marvel versus Spawn from Image Comics. This is gonna be a fun one, for sure. Alright, well, before we get into it, of course, there should be a link in the description below and go watch the actual episode yourself. Go support the official release before watching some random guy on YouTube react to it, okay? Got it? Cool. That's what brought this little guy up. I meant to bring him up for the last episode, but I forgot. So whoops, but he's here now, so he's probably gonna be a regular for the time being. Anyway, so Ghost Rider versus Spawn. This is gonna be an interesting episode because for the first time having a Marvel character up, I've actually read the comics. Well, most of them anyway. This thing is open. It was open in the last episode. I hate this thing. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I hate that I don't notice it until I start recording. But anyway, yes, I've read the comics. Oh, I've read most of them anyway. And when I say that, I mean I've read most of Ghost Rider's comics. I have read 0 of Spawn's, unfortunately. In fact, even more unfortunately, I'm actually kind of not blind, but I'm less cultured with Spawn than I am with Ghost Rider, and ignoring the fact that I've read Ghost Rider's comics. Because for Spawn, the only thing I've truly seen him in, I know I've seen him in Mortal Kombat, and he's pretty cool there. But as far as Spawn media goes, the only thing I've seen is the movie, which was god awful. So not exactly a great look. Meanwhile, I saw Ghost Rider's movie. It's not good, but I had some fun with it. Would I go out of my way to watch it again? Probably not. But yeah, I haven't seen the sequel, which I've heard is even worse. So I'm probably not going to see the sequel. And I have not seen the Spawn cartoon, but I do really want to, because I've heard a lot of my friends have been telling me that it's really good. I've had Z-Dog and Richard tell me it's really good. I know Eves and Jem have been talking on Blue Sky about it. They say it's peak. So maybe I'll give it a watch. Yeah. So it should be kind of obvious who I want to win this fight, right? I mean, no disrespect to Spawn, absolutely not. I do think Spawn is a really cool character. I mean, any character voiced by Keith David is gonna be some degree of cool, right? But I'm more experienced with Ghost Rider, even ignoring the fact that I've actually read his comics. Yeah, I don't think it goes without. I think it kind of goes without saying that I want Ghost Rider to win this fight. But the question is, do I think he's going to? And that is honestly a really damn good question, because I have no idea. The thing is, for me, is that I'm still not 100% sold on either of them being able to kill each other. I've seen so many arguments about it. It really just kind of depends on what this episode brings up for me. I'm not sure on. I know the penance stare is kind of a big deal. I have no idea if that's going to work on Spawn. The thing is, for me, is that Spawn is going to need some really damn good resistance to soul manipulation for me to say that stuff like the penance stare or just Ghost Rider's Hellfire or Zarathos. It's kind of in a similar boat as Ghost Rider versus Lobo, in the sense that really the main thing that Ghost Rider can do to win this fight is to target the soul. He can do that with Hellfire, he can do it with the Penance Stare, or Zarathos could just eat up Spawn's soul. If any of those are on the table, I'm gonna go with Ghost Rider. If not, then I have no idea, because the only argument I've seen people bring up for Spawn to be able to kill Ghost Rider is that he has a holy weapon, which Ghost Rider is famously susceptible to. But the thing is, for me, is that I kind of more attribute Ghost Rider's weakness to holy weapons as kind of like in a similar boat to like Superman's weakness to magic, where it's like it's a thing, it's a problem, but it's not like a it's not as simple as like I have the holy weapon, therefore I win. And I think Ghost Rider in general is just so much stronger than Spawn. I think cutting into him with a holy weapon is going to be quite tricky in its own right. So for the time being, you know, having done research on Ghost Rider and not on Spawn, obviously my perception is my perspective, I should say, is very skewed. But I'm going to go with Ghost Rider. I'm going to say that Ghost Rider is probably going to win. That's who I think wins this fight right now. But let's just watch the episode, and we will see what happens. This is going to be a sick fight.
Ghost Rider versus Spawn.
The Spirit of Vengeance versus the Dark Angel of Armageddon.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills. To find out
it's going to be an uphill battle no matter what, I feel like.
Johnny Blaze has always been a man possessed, chasing the thrill of certain doom by performing death-defying stunts, following the example of his adoptive father, Crash Simpson.
Until the day Crash lived up to his name and got cancer, heartbroken, and without enough Wampa fruit to save him, Johnny turned to the only thing that could, chemotherapy.
The devil.
Oh!
To cure Crash's cancer, Johnny sold his soul to Mephisto, king of the 8th layer of hell.
Only for Crash to actually live up to his name right after.
But instead
literally
of
like the next day,
Johnny's
I think.
Soul, Mephisto had something else in mind. He bound Johnny to an instrument of divine wrath, Zarathos, the Spirit of Vengeance.
So Johnny Blaze lived up to his name and burst into Hellfire, an undead skeleton biker with a sick-ass hug, the 5th scariest Nick Cage performance, the stuntman from
What would be
hell.
number one?
He called himself the Daredevil.
Sorry,
No.
Johnny, that name's taken.
Okay, then how about the Ghost Rider?
Sure, we definitely didn't forget that we named the character the same thing only 5 years earlier. All you.
The
Don't worry
Ghost
about
Rider
it.
was bad news for Earth sinners and scumbags. He's strong enough to
Former
pull
King
down
of Hell, okay.
skyscrapers, blow up mountains, and cause earthquakes that can be felt across whole countries.
Don't even think about fighting back. He can remake his whole body from the hellfire that engulfs him, making him immune to all physical damage. Only holy weapons that target his soul can harm him.
It's not just his body. His whole arsenal is hellfire. Ghost
Yep.
can create anything he can think of, from an infinite stream of chains, a shotgun packed with fiery rounds, or a flaming missile barfed right out of his mouth.
That comic run isn't so great, by the way. It's
And he can
written
hit
by the guy who
other objects
wrote The
with
Boys,
hellfire,
the
such
comic,
as
so
his
don't read
Hell
it.
Cycle.
Oh, this badass bike can outpace Thor's hammer Mjolnir, which can cross the universe in seconds.
Hellfire is a weapon in and of itself, whether shot out of his hands, raining down from the sky, or released from his...
His boner, Wiz. Get it? And it
Anyway.
doesn't just scorch flesh. Hellfire is so deadly, it can burn away your very soul.
This technique
Yep.
will be mastered by Johnny's successor, his own brother, Danny Ketch.
Oh yeah, Johnny's not the only Ghost Rider, and Danny
Far from it.
mastered their most famous move. You know, the one that burns your soul to smithereens with just a look, the Penance Stare.
The Penance Stare inflicts upon its victims every ounce of pain they ever wreaked upon others. Every cruelty, no matter how small or righteous, is reflected back.
Yep.
A biblical punishment.
It's
Obliterating
honestly
your soul.
terrifying.
It even works on other Ghost Riders, like when Johnny and Danny got into a staring contest and Danny actually depowered Johnny.
Eyes are windows to the soul, so the Ghost Rider must be able to match his victim's gaze for the penance stare to work. Some people have survived it, like the Punisher supposedly because he didn't regret his actions, but it did work on him on other occasions.
Well,
Yeah.
Johnny can adjust how deadly it is, and it doesn't necessarily have to kill you. He can use
True.
the stare to read minds, force you to confess info, or just show you the error of your ways.
Remember, the Ghost Rider is two souls in one body, with the kinder Johnny battling the demon Zarathos in a war of control.
Classic Faustian bargain. All the power in the world, but if you want it, it uses you. Because if Johnny gives in, the demon's full might will take over, and then everything is screwed.
Yep.
Zarathos' strength is boundless. He can open up portals between dimensions, control the elements, pen and stare an entire city, and fly all the way to Asgard, which is a literal infinite distance away.
He's
I
manhandled
don't
some of
remember
Marvel's
that.
heaviest hitters, like Thor, World War Hulk, and Doctor Strange. Hell, Strange said Zarathos is a threat to all realms,
Yeah.
mortal and immortal.
Hyperbole? Think again. The Archangel Zadkiel said that the power of the Ghost Rider could threaten all of existence, and even bring down heaven itself.
Right before an army of Ghost Riders did just that. Yeah, an army. The spirits of vengeance are legion.
As far
Yep.
back as the Great Flood, humans have been bonded to the vestiges of God's power to act as his divine wrath on Earth. A sort of heavenly black ops.
Okay, wait, does that make Zarathos an angel now? Or is he still a demon?
Both? Neither? Despite being one of the greatest entities in existence, it's unclear. What
Yeah.
we do know is that ages ago, Zarathos feasted on souls and battled Mephisto for rulership of his realm.
That's a good edit.
Ever the trickster, claimed victory and gained control of Zarathos forevermore. Hence how
Yep.
he could bond him to Johnny.
But Zarathos got his revenge against that big red bitch with another Ghost Rider, Alejandra Jones. Bet you wish you had one more day to fix that hole in your chest, huh?
Comic book fan punching bag though he may be, Mephisto is unbelievably powerful.
Yeah.
A battle with him could cause omniversal Armageddon, fitting as his fight with Galactus rents the cosmos asunder.
And Galactus' fights can destroy all of Marvel's infinite multiverse. That's the kind of awesome power at Zarathos' disposal.
Yeah.
Total cosmic annihilation.
So it was no surprise when Johnny went down to the underworld and took Hell's throne for himself, usurping the devil that ruined his life and finally grabbing destiny by the handlebars.
Scoring the total power of hell itself, plus a sick-ass upgrade, the Damnation Stare, which skips the whole every pain you've ever inflicted thing and just sends you straight to hell. No shot.
As they say though, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Johnny began an obsessive crusade to capture all of Hell's escaped demons. But by using his new power to damn them to hell, he began absorbing their evil, feeding off them, and it corrupted him. Once again, Johnny Blaze was a man possessed.
In truth, Johnny was just as trapped by Hell's power as he'd always been, and he needed Danny's help to pull him out of the darkness.
Though he gave up Hell's throne, the Ghost Rider continues his war against demons without and within, mentoring his fellow Ghost Riders in the ways of vengeance, always prowling the highways for the evil and the profane.
An unstoppable engine of judgment that, with just a glance, could make Galactus himself shit his pants.
Maybe one day he'll find salvation in the eyes of one of his victims.
As they sure as hell won't find any in his. If Al Simmons was one thing, he was a killer.
A lieutenant
Yep.
colonel in the U.S. Army and the CIA's most decorated assassin, Simmons upheld democracy around the globe at the barrel of a gun, painting the third world in red, white, and blue, but mostly red.
Mostly,
Until
yeah.
his final fateful mission when, per his boss's orders, Al was fired.
The Birdman was only getting started because Al's immortal soul was on a one-way trip to hell.
Where he cut a deal with Malvosia, the big, naked lord of the 8th Circle of Hell.
By their pact, Simmons would be reborn a Hellspawn, a superpowered commander of Hell's armies, in exchange for seeing his wife one more time.
Oh,
Yeah, about
you're
that.
just asking to get monkey's bud.
Al Simmons returned from the dead as a decaying zombie 5 years later, after his wife had already remarried and had a daughter.
Yep.
There, you saw her. Now get back to work, bitch.
Thus was born the undead
Don't make
warrior
deals with
from
devils.
Hell itself, Spawn.
He's so 90s that he comes all the way back around to being the coolest thing ever. Look upon his edge wizard and despair.
Former king of hell.
Spawn
Yep.
would violently defend New York's downtrodden, while slowly uncovering the full breadth of his demonic powers.
He's like a walking superpower encyclopedia. He can fly,
Not
teleport,
wrong.
turn invisible and intangible, move things with his mind, make force fields, control the elements and the weather, and even stop time. Speaking of time, he can fly so fast, he literally breaks into other dimensions. and
Stopping time is
smashes
going to
time
be
as a
an interesting
concept.
thing.
He can manipulate matter, shape-shifting his own body or transmuting other objects and people. He can even control and absorb your soul.
Wait, Wiz, if he can rearrange molecules and crap, why doesn't he just fix his uggo face?
Well, he tried to do that, but Malbolgia cursed him so that he could only make himself... yeah.
Oh, it's petty trolling like that that gets you a throne in hell.
To be fair, Spawn can achieve a similar result with illusions and mental manipulation. He can read and control minds, implant and replace memories, or simply drive you mad.
Spawn can do all of this crazy shit because he runs on necroplasm. Basically, hell juice.
You're not wrong. Necroplasm is the energy that makes up hell itself. Al's undead body is composed of 400 pounds of it.
He can wield it like
Yikes.
an energy blaster empowered by the sins of others. Spawn can absorb your evil and feed off of it. By simply walking on Earth, Spawn feels all of humanity's pain all at once.
He's even absorbed the sins of 8 million New Yorkers instantly, cleansing them of their evil.
Like Jesus?
Or he can do the reverse and make you experience the full weight of your own sins, feeling every bit of pain you've ever inflicted on others over your whole life.
Like
This sounds familiar.
some sort of penance.
Though
Yeah.
Spawn's necroplasm comes with a catch.
Yeah, he's got a limited amount of the stuff, and it drains every time he uses his powers. If he runs out, he's dragged back to hell.
Even depowered, Spawn can rely on his elite military training in
wait.
hand-to-hand combat. He's even fought Batman to a standstill.
And as befits his past profession, he loves his big-ass 90s guns.
Though his greatest weapon is the sentient being he's genetically and spiritually bonded to.
Letha.
His cloak. Letha of the 7th House of K.
You ever wonder why his cape's red? Nope, well, now you are, and it's red because it's made from the apple Eve ate in the Garden of Eden. It's literally made of original sin. Oh, and also the souls of a million sinners, including every one of Hell's victims. Also a touch of vampire for good measure.
K7 Letha
Cool.
is constantly evolving. It can act independently to defend Spawn with an infinite stream of chains, transform into weapons, or drain people of their power. It is the most potent weapon Hell
I see the
has
Sword of the
ever
Spirit. I've heard
created.
about
It
that
even
one.
helped Spawn beat the primordial dark god Urizen, who can destroy and eat your soul with just a glare.
Except the souls bonded to Spawn acted as a
Oh.
buffer, allowing him to survive.
You'd think with an arsenal like that, he'd be unstoppable. But Hellspawns have a weakness to holy weapons and can be killed permanently if decapitated by one.
Though Spawn has managed to survive this in the past. No, Spawn's greatest weakness is his own... how do I put this? Stupidity.
So Spawn fought this angel lady, Angela. Great name for an angel. She had this dimensional
Oh,
that could
I've heard about
Hellspawn
this.
out of existence, and Spawn got it. But instead of, being cautious around a mysterious angel weapon that hurts him, he just had to push the big shiny button and activate it on himself.
And so, Spawn
Dumbass.
was forever destroyed. Until he reconfigured reality to undo his own inexistence.
There we are, good as new. That has to be the first time we've seen someone accidentally kill themselves and survive.
On his quest as Hell's greatest warrior, Spawn has defeated
Definitely
a
accounts for
serial killer
something.
ice cream man, a demonic clown, and even his old boss remade by Heaven into an anti-Spawn. He's even encountered other Hellspawn.
Killing bad guys might seem counterintuitive if you work for a Hell Lord, but it actually just adds more souls to Malbolgia's army. An army
Yeah.
Spawn would have to lead in a war with Heaven that had killed all of humanity.
Because the reason Malbolgia chose Al to be his commander wasn't that he was some great warrior. It was because Al had proven that he was the best at taking orders.
All his life and all his death, Al was nothing more than a hired gun.
But he knew it, and he would do so no more.
So Spawn marched down to hell and ripped Brobuscus' head off with a scream so loud it echoed through all of reality. Spawn became the king of the 8th circle of hell.
As king, Spawn is literally a part of hell itself, gaining access to an unlimited pool of energy that increases 100-fold with every heartbeat.
We're including this?
He's effectively omnipotent in there, and strong enough to challenge other hell lords like Mammon and Satan.
He got so strong, the only thing left was to finally resolve the war between heaven and hell.
But Spawn needed help from the being who created this god and Satan to begin with, the mother of existence, Gaia.
She wasn't cool with her kids being total assholes, so she appointed Spawn to be the universe's savior.
By eating the fruit from the tree of life, Spawn became truly divine, capable of battling God and Satan in a stalemate for eternity that extinguished all life on Earth.
And each of them are powerful enough to create and control infinitely sized universes.
Spawn broke the stalemate by letting God and Satan destroy him, only for Gaia to separate the two from the reality they threatened.
Then, just like that time with the Lance, Spawn respawned and recreated the Earth. Poof, good as new.
Finally freed of the weight of heaven and hell, Al asked to be reborn as a human. But he knew in his heart he deserved to carry on his undead penance in perpetuity.
He's a creature of the 90s, Wiz. He won't be happy unless he can angstily brood over the injustice of his own existence.
Though if you threaten the alley he calls home, beware, because Spawn will turn whatever's left of your life into a living hell. All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for one hell of a death battle!
Pause. Oh, man. Oh, this... Okay. This is gonna be a hard battle. I mean, I knew that going into it, but God. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm actually starting to lean more towards Spawn right now. Fighting someone that could like devour your soul was like that. I didn't know about that, so. Well, okay. Let me back up. That was one way that that Spawn could resist soul manipulation. So I know Zarathos can eat souls, so that's probably out. But stuff like Hellfire and the Penance Stare are still things that I'm like, I feel like they could probably work. But also, okay, I need to ask. There's a strong chance that I missed something when they were talking about Ghost Rider. But they had a whole tab dedicated to they had a whole like slate dedicated to Spawn's like King of Hell and angelic form, and yet they didn't have something like that for Ghost Rider when he was the King of Hell. That's kind of interesting to me, and it kind of felt like they were talking about I mean, okay, I guess the fact that they like brought up stuff like the Damnation Stare, which is a King of Hell exclusive ability, means they're probably including it. I don't know. This okay. Because the thing is that I know both of them gave up those forms. They talked about it as such. So I'm just wondering, like, why did it feel to me like they were including the forms for Spawn and not for Ghost Rider. Again, there is a strong possibility that I have completely missed something. I was also trying to pay attention to the black boxes, but there was only so much I could do. I'm sure I missed at least one or two, and didn't really process the rest. There was one that said that Ghost Rider could resist attempts to manipulate his biology, which is interesting. I don't know if I don't remember hearing Spawn having any abilities like that, so it might not even matter. But okay. So I think both of them are equal in terms of like speed, because Spawn moves so fast that he like broke the fabric of time or whatever. Ghost Rider flew to Asgard, which is an infinite distance away. I don't remember that. Again, I didn't read every comic for Ghost Rider, so there's a good chance I missed that. In which case, fair enough. But I want to go with Ghost Rider so bad, but I feel like Spawn's gonna win this one. So you know what? I'm gonna go with him, and I'm gonna hope to God that I'm wrong. Okay, I don't have anything against Spawn. I'm actually totally okay if he wins. I just really would prefer Ghost Rider to win this one, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's see what we got.
Nights like these drive men insane. Brimstone in the air. Something's coming. If it wants a piece of me, there'll be hell to pay.
Go back to the pit you squirmed from, Hellspawn.
Make me.
Oh, I forgot about the limited necroplasm. That could be something. Oh, this music's already sick.
If you care, it's nothing personal. Vengeance calls.
Glad they brought up the shotgun.
Sloppy, you fight like a bum.
You've earned your damnation.
Oh. Okay. Curious where this is gonna go. Yeah, the time manipulation too. I forgot about that. Oh, Zarathos is here. Oh. Okay, Scorpion, calm down.
The vestments of the holy cannot disguise your wickedness. God forbid.
Right, okay. Oh, he's big now. Or maybe not, I don't know. Come on, Ghost Rider. Oh.
Simmons, your sins are innumerable. I am here to wreak vengeance upon your soul.
Damn.
Sin for breakfast. Have a taste of your own goddamn medicine.
I think that's it.
Wait, I'm an innocent.
you said. Nothing personal, asshole.
Damn.
Damn!
Literally. This was a nail-biter of a battle that pitted Ghost Rider's immeasurable power against Spawn's skill and versatility. Let's break this down into 4 categories.
First up, power. Divine Spawn could match God and Satan, who could create universes. Similar in scale to Ghost Rider's bouts with a lot of the powerhouses in Marvel.
But Zarathos was different. Remember, his power can match that of Mephisto and Galactus, who can threaten all of Marvel's infinite cosmic reality, far greater than any cosmos Spawn has ever affected. Even though Spawn's battled and defeated Satan in more recent comics, implying he's retained a level of power similar to his divine form, he couldn't match Zarathos in power alone.
Ghost Rider may take power, but remember, Johnny actively resists Zarathos' influence, so Spawn may have had time in the fight to learn and adapt to Ghost Rider before he went full Blue Fury.
And Spawn
Right.
definitely had the edge in skill. He spent decades
Yeah, I
in
can't deny that.
and is a master martial artist, whereas Johnny more so relies on his invincibility.
The ultimate dream power for a stuntman. Even with his crazy powers, Ghost Rider was a lot more direct than Spawn, pretty much entirely focused on attacking the soul.
Which doesn't bode well for his versatility. Spawn can stop time, manipulate matter, turn intangible, control minds, while in reality, the Ghost Rider had a much more limited arsenal by comparison. Spawn had a huge advantage in this category.
Though with his invincibility, way greater power, and the ability to scorch your soul to nothing, Ghost Rider could score the win through brute force, right?
Not exactly. The last piece of the puzzle is their resistances. Basically, who was harder to kill. Spawn's constant mainlining of humanity's collective sin and pain meant he could survive attacks on his soul, including the penance stare, just like he resisted a very similar attack from Urizen.
Best of all, remember the time he rewrote reality to undo
Oh.
his own inexistence?
Right.
There was nothing the Ghost Rider could do to overpower that. And that time with the lance wasn't planned, it was purely instinctual. He could replicate it any time he wanted, like in his fight with God and Satan.
So how do you put Spawn down for good? Well, you can't. At least Johnny and Zarathos couldn't.
Unlike how Ghost Rider's soul has been vulnerable to attack before, like when Danny used the penance stare to depower Johnny.
This sort of thing actually happens a lot, even in recent comics. The whole reason Johnny and Zarathos are bonded in the first place is because Zarathos' soul was manipulated by Mephisto.
And not only does Spawn have plenty of experience manipulating souls, he can replicate the effect of the penance stare itself.
And just think about that. A penance stare on Zarathos would mean he's feeling the pain from every penance stare that he's ever done. A penance squared.
The damnation
Yeah,
stare, on the
fair
other
enough.
hand, actively helped Spawn, sending him to hell where he gets a literal infinite power boost.
And it wasn't just
Yeah.
Spawn's soul powers that had spelled trouble. He had other ways to bypass Ghost Rider's immortality too, like transmutation, rewriting reality, or just straight up stealing his powers, which has worked on multiple Ghost Riders in the past.
Giving Spawn the final edge. Zarathos was almost unbeatable, a massive power advantage, soul destruction, immortality, but Spawn could counter everything thrown at him, and was too unkillable for Zarathos' strength advantage to matter in the long run against his crazier abilities.
That was one hell of a fight, and at least Johnny went out in a blaze of glory.
The winner is Spawn.
Damn.
Time on Death Battle.
Yeah, okay.
Subscribe
Shigaraki
and join
versus
as a member to
Mahito.
see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
That was weird. Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of saw that next fight coming, to be honest with you. Still cool, though. Still definitely down for that. But, I won't lie, I'm kind of like, because, like, I know they've said that the Kickstarter matchups aren't necessarily in order, like they weren't revealed in the order that they are happening, but it's like, I still see so many people be like, oh, okay, so the next fight's probably Shigaraki versus Mahito because, like, that was next on the Kickstarter, so obviously that's the next episode, right? And I'm honestly getting kind of sick of it, so So while I kind of saw this one coming, and I am looking forward to that episode, that is going to be, the body horror on that is going to be wild. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little less like stoked that it's less so that I'm like not excited for it happening. It's more so that I'm like just kind of meh on it being the next one. So, but we'll see what happens. You know, it's definitely going to be a cool fight. I don't have a lot of experience with either character. I have seen a bit of both shows. I think I got up to like season 4 of My Hero Academia, and I am like at the tail end of season 1 for Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of stakes in this next one, but it's still probably going to be pretty cool. I am 100% expecting Shigaraki to win, though. Just based on what I do know. I have heard some people say that it's probably a lot closer than believed. Than it would seem at first glance. So I'm obviously open to hearing any arguments out for Mahito, but yeah, I don't see him winning that, but I guess we'll see what happens. As for this fight, well, first of all, god damn it. Yeah, I am doing so bad when it comes to predicting who wins this. I only have Joker and Kratos. You know, obviously before watching the episodes, I mean. My thoughts after watching the analysis are obviously very different. In fact, I think at that point, if we're going by that count, I think the only one I still lost was Bardock. But then again, I think everybody lost that one. I think everybody went for Bardock for that one, and welp. Yeah. Still though, you know, my disappointment aside, it was still a dope as hell fight. And I knew it was gonna be like a hard fought battle no matter what happened. So, so yeah, I guess I can't say I'm like totally against that result. It's just, you know, I wanted Ghost Rider to win. I thought he could. I do still think he can win, right? Like that's, you know, saying that I thought he could win was kind of like saying like, oh, he didn't win, therefore he could never win. That's obviously not true. But yeah, I kind of had a feeling going into the fight itself that that Spawn was going to win that, but as soon as I honestly, like, once I saw the necroplasm count, I was like, oh wait, it might drain by the end. That could lead to a Ghost Rider victory. As soon as I saw it hit 0, like before Zarathos even came out, I was like, yeah, I think Spawn's probably winning this. So, well, oh well. I'm bummed, but you know, I guess I'll take the L on that. Still, again, really cool fight. That's definitely one I'm gonna have to go back to once the disappointment kind of like settles. But it was a lot of fun. That track, I need that track. I know that was Tyson Yen on it, right? Guy who sung for The Only Thing I Know for Real from Metal Gear Rising. So yeah, definitely happy to see that. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. It was a really cool fight. I wish I could be more like excited about that, but seeing Johnny lose that was kind of put a damper on my on things, but I'm not gonna let that hit me for too long. You know, it's whatever, right? He lost. They explained it well enough. I can't complain too much. I'm just kind of a biased son of a bitch. So, you know, naturally, you know, when I see a character that I like more lose a death battle, I get a little bummed about it. Especially when I'm like, oh yeah, no, I think they can pull this off, and then they don't. It's the exact same thing I felt for Eggman, and that fight is one of my favorites of the show. So it's like, it's whatever. And obviously, I'm just I'm disappointed to be wrong. You know, I'm disappointed to have predicted wrong. So obviously that's just kind of a me thing. This whole thing is just a me thing, right? Like I'm not saying like Ghost Rider should have won, damn it, but no, I'm not like that at all. No, I'm okay. It's just, you know, kind of, it's just a combination of, you know, another preferred character lost, and I guess wrong on the winner again. So, so that's why that's why I'm not as like excited to talk about this fight as much, because like, it is really good, okay? I want that to be on record. The animation was great. The track was amazing. Both voice actors, Stephen Kelly came back for Ghost Rider, and he was just as good as before. I do appreciate the reference to Ghost Rider versus Lobo. That was cool. And then Ray Hurd, I think his name is, as Spawn. First of all, that's the guy who voiced Toppo from Dragon Ball, which is like, okay. But also, he is amazing. He sounds so much like Keith David. It was crazy. So, yeah, really cool fight. So I'm happy. I'm satisfied. Well, I'm not satisfied, but you know what I mean. Yeah. At this point, I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I guess I will see you all when Shigaraki vs. Mahito comes out. Bye, everybody.